guys, welcome back to Crochet by Night. Tonight is episode 5 of Bedtime Yarn Tales, and I get an opportunity to sit down and talk with Mr. David Browning, who not only has his crochet channel, but is also an opera singer. Come along with me and let's get to know David. Welcome to Crochet by Night.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I've been so excited, David. I'm just going to jump right in and tell you, I first became aware of you when you commented on one of my videos, and you mentioned it was the Let's Talk About Hooks video, and you said I've been meaning to try some furls hooks.
I'm still meaning to try some furls hooks. I can't afford them.
Well, we're going to do something about that. We're going to get you one of those for doing this. But
no.
Yes, that was my surprise.
Oh my goodness gracious.
I'm going to send you one of those for doing this. What's your favorite size hook?
All of them.
So anyone works, right?
H or I.
H or I. Okay. But like I said, I had never actually heard of furls hooks. And I know it's terrible to be a crocheter all these years and say, what's a furls hook? And so I went and researched them and got some. Now, I still prefer the Addy that my husband bought me, the Addy swing hook. But I have got some furls hooks. Okay. So
These are the ones that I like very much. I mean, you see them with all sorts of different brand names on them, but they're basically plastic handle, clear plastic hook, and let's see if it works. Oh, this one doesn't work. The hook will light up. I never use the light. Some people do if they're like working in the dark. But I just really like the way the handle fits in my hand.
And I have one that looks just like that, but where you put the little battery in,
yeah.
I lost the little cover.
Okay, here's one where the light works.
Yes.
I have every size of these. I have several in some sizes.
Well, be sure and send me your address so I can send you. I'll probably send you one of the streamlines that I've got. I stocked up on a few so I could give those away as gifts. So, all right. So let's jump in and start with, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and about how you started crocheting and just how you got here?
Well, like most of us, I was taught to crochet when I was, I don't know, 9 or 10. My grandmother was visiting, and she taught me and my sister. My sister's about a year older than I am. And so we had fun with it, but I don't recall ever doing it after my grandmother, after that one visit from my grandmother. And then it was about 2016 that I picked it up again. I had a partner. I had given him a beginner's knitting kit a few years before.
Oh.
Basically because he had another hobby that annoyed me. So I gave him that. He became quite an expert in very little time. And then he decided, or suggested rather, that I should pick up crochet again, and then he would be the one who knits, and I would be the one who crochets, and that's how we became the Bearded Yarn Dudes. And that's right. Our persona on Instagram and on Facebook. Although nowadays I do most of the posting to both. I still use it sometimes in my YouTube posts as well. Although since it's been 2 years since we broke up.
Right.
We're still on great terms, but we're not really necessarily working together. And you know, he has a lot of other things, and I have other things as well.
So I love your intros, and I love that you, on your videos, And I love now every time I see it, I think the bearded yarn dude. That's what I think. Not dudes, but I always think there's David, the bearded yarn dude.
Well,
Dude.
actually, if you poke around in my Instagram and Facebook, you'll find pictures of him as well.
So, but I see that, I think of you. Does that make sense?
It does indeed.
So, okay, so you started again in about 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something you prefer to crochet? Is there a stitch that you like?
I like learning new things. I don't like it when I can't master them instantaneously. So in some ways, I'm like 5 years old, and but I like big things like blankets and sweaters. I have a number of. I should have been wearing a sweater that I made myself for this, but actually I forgot. I didn't tell the last minute. I forgot we were doing this.
Oh no.
I do a lot of small things. I call them palette cleansers between projects, or sometimes I'll pick up something like in the middle of a large project if I'm just bored. So I wind up with a lot of hats that way. And I try to do as many blue hats as possible for Hat Not Hate.
Right. So I've got mine on.
Actually, where did I put them? Okay, here we are. Oh, here we are. Yes. These are some recent hats. This is a fiber spider hat.
Oh yeah.
Posted this pattern last week, I think.
Love it.
I was working on it before the video was over.
Love it. I love the cabling on that.
Yeah, yeah. And this is a very recent Bag-O-Day hat with all these puffs on them.
Yeah.
And that was even more recent than the fiber spider. But they're in my Hat Not Hate bag right now. I have another one. This is my own hat pattern that I have made available to people on my blog. Let's see, and I have plenty of blue yarn to keep me going between these projects.
So
go ahead.
I just started to ask you. I know you said that you had been doing some Instagram and some different things previously, and you're now doing them again. What is it about YouTube that you like that keeps you coming back to YouTube?
I've met some wonderful people on YouTube. There's a very nice yarn community on YouTube.
I agree.
I actually really threw myself into it by suddenly I was watching Yarn Geek every morning at 6 a.m. Eastern.
6 a.m.
Yeah, Eastern. Yeah. It's 5 a.m. Central where she is.
Wow.
But she had a 2-hour live every single day. I think she did it 77 days straight.
Ooh.
But of course, that's a bit much for anyone. So now she's taking a break from that. And I don't know whether she's going to get back to that kind of a schedule. But I met some wonderful people in that in that stream, in that community, and so I've branched out from that as well.
It's very interesting because for me, because I love that I can click on somebody's live and watch and communicate, or if I'm posting and I don't want to, and I've only ever done one live, but I can, because you never know what's coming out of my mouth. I can always edit and then post, my video on there. So I think it's very fascinating that you can do so many different things on YouTube.
I attempted a live today. I don't think I did it right because I don't think it showed up anywhere.
Cool.
And actually, when I was doing the live, I was trying to redo a regular post that I had shot using my phone. But for some reason, maybe it was because it was a longer video than most, I wasn't able to transfer it. I wasn't able to upload it to YouTube. Usually I'm able to do that, and then I can make some sort of edits to like the description and the thumbnail and that sort of thing.
Right.
But I wasn't able to do that. That wasn't even presented as an option, you know. And it's probably because of the file size.
Right.
So I just ordered a gadget where I can transfer things manually from my phone to.
I have the very thing. I actually, one year for Christmas, my husband asked for this external, I call it USB, but it's some sort of external drive gadget. And I got it for him for Christmas, and he never used it. And so when I started doing this, I couldn't get things to upload from my phone. And he said, "Here, you can have my Christmas present."
So actually, I was quite pleased. It was only, I found one with 32 gigs for just $10 on Amazon.
They're really inexpensive, and they relatively inexpensive, and they are such a big help. Such a big help.
So I didn't know such a thing existed before Julie, the Whippy chick, told me about them. And she has one that has a far larger capacity. And I have that still on my Amazon wish list. The URL of my Amazon wish list, by the way, is in the description of all of my videos.
Hint, hint. You're so cute. Okay.
But I have a lot of yarn and hooks and a ball winder and Swift, and what else? A couple of pattern books, and a couple of cooking things as well. But and to think, you know, when I think what it used to be all about opera, because that's my background is really opera. And I wanted all these wonderful recordings that are still available, but you know, I've moved so many times in the past few years and purged so many belongings, and I found that I can go on living without all of those opera CDs and DVDs, and just about anything I want to hear I can find online. And I still write about opera. I have an opera blog called taminophile.com. Wink, wink. I used to write for print publication, but I never did that for a living. I wish I could have done that for a living. In fact, last year, I moved to Texas temporarily, thinking that it would be permanent. And I wound up with a job interview at the Houston Grand Opera, working with their PR department, and it sounded like the job description was written for me. But I didn't get very far in the interview process. So I can only imagine how many applicants they had.
So talk to me about opera, because I don't know a lot about it, but you make it sound so fascinating. And I've watched your video where you're singing, and I'm just amazed. Tell me, because it seems that it has such a depth of meaning. Tell me how to understand it. If you were to teach somebody like me, who's a very country kind of girl, who's not had any exposure.
Well, let me ask you this. What are your favorite songs that tell stories?
Well, I am like some of the Johnny Cash's songs. I told you I'm real country. Some of the
There's
70s.
No judgment here. My mother grew up on a tobacco farm in the Depression. So I grew up watching Hee Haw. Yeah, there's no judgment here. You know, where are you tonight?
That is, you're my kind of guy right there. That's
Oh,
right.
why did you leave me here all alone? But
So,
anyway.
so I've moved from that, and of course I love some 70s rock, and there's some I'm not really that big into pop or heavy metal or any of those, but I love music in general. And things like Elvis Presley, some of the songs that he sang would just move me to tears. And some of them when he has all the orchestra behind him. And so I'm very fascinated by opera.
Well, okay, imagine you are living in, say, 17th or 18th century Italy.
Okay.
So what the music that is in your life now wasn't even conceived of at that time, but there was church music, there was concert music, and in the late 17th century, no, late 16th century, I think 1597 is the first date that we have for an actual opera, although we wouldn't call it an opera, or we wouldn't recognize it as opera today. But anyway, where they told stories with music. And think of it also, you can think of it like a musical today, but the dialogue was sung. And in a musical today, whenever they stop for a song, it's really a commentary on the current situation.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's either this is who I am, this is my exposition aria, or this is what I think of what's going on, or this is how you've affected my life. It's that sort of thing. A lot of it also is there are tons of operas that that take place in and around church environments, because in that time and place, the church was a huge part of everybody's life. Mm-hmm. So even more so than some people in current American culture we would consider excessive. But that's the level it was at the time. So it was, the story was told in music. The same way the story is told in music with musical theater.
Right. Can you pinpoint, David, can you pinpoint a time in your life when you said, that's what I want to do, I want to sing opera?
I sang all through my childhood in various kinds of choirs. I was in high school, I was in North Carolina. They had, I believe it's still in existence, the Governor's School of North Carolina, which is a summer program. It's an honors program, and I was there for music. And in an extra concert was the first time I really think I sang a full solo in front of people, and I was moved, and they were moved, and that's when I thought, this is what life is.
That's amazing. I can't think of a time in my life really that I said, this has moved me so much that this is what I want to do. I think for me, I fell into so many things. You know, I started out, I was in college, I was studying one thing, and somebody said, well, because you're so opposed to working with juvenile delinquents, you're going to work with juvenile delinquents. So I ended up working with juvenile delinquents and being a probation and parole officer for a while, you know, and it was more somebody else moving me in until I got to this crochet channel. I can tell you honestly, I probably just kind of floated through. And when I started doing my crochet channel, my coworkers say, "Oh my gosh, you just light up." Well, that's what I see when you're in your videos, when you're talking about opera. You just feel it. And so I think that's just amazing.
Yeah, you're not the first person who said that. I mean, the first time someone actually said that to me, I was at some sort of a gay men's retreat. I used to call it therapy camp. I went every year, actually, for quite some time. But somehow, through a silent auction, I won a spiritual counseling session with a clergyman who was there. And I went. I can see now I was a little bit defensive because I had this totally cerebral view of faith and religion and everything. And so we were talking about belief systems and this and that and models of God and all that. And then he got me talking about music. And he said that everything about me changed.
Mm-hmm. You could see it.
I was not aware of that until then, but it just made so much sense. I have been in situations. I recall once on a work trip. Where I had been pretty focused. You know, I've never made a living with music. I was always in technology. I sort of fell into that.
Right.
So I had been very focused the whole week. And then with my friend, we were at the airport. We were having a snack, probably a drink or something. And I pulled out my computer and I started editing this opera blog post that I had been working on. It was a profile of an opera singer I knew who was a beautiful singer and a beautiful woman. I could just feel, it was like I could feel my blood chemistry changing as I just changed direction mentally.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I do. And I don't know if you watch I mean, sounds a little weird, but I don't know if you ever watched The Voice on TV, but this year they had this gentleman who sings opera. And when he started singing, I was so moved that it brought me to tears. And
what was that?
The Voice.
Okay, yeah.
You know, Blake Shelton, country, The Voice, and yet they had this opera singer on there, and he was amazing. And I was totally blown away. Unfortunately, he got kicked off somewhere along the way because that's not mainstream, what they were looking for. I don't know. But he was so good, and it just really intrigued me. And I thought, David Browning. David Browning. Because,
oh, wow. Yeah.
So now in my mind, when I see or hear opera, I'll always think of you.
Oh, that's sweet. Actually, yeah, if you want to talk further about this, I could talk for hours about it. But you know, we could talk offline sometime. I could like point you towards some videos that would be really good for new people learning new opera anew.
Here's my suggestion though. My suggestion
like that, shouldn't I?
My suggestion is you should be vlogging about opera as well as crochet. Because it comes across.
You're right about that.
So I like being right. My husband never tells me I'm right. I'm gonna tell him I was right today.
Ah, stupid straight man.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. So what are the goals for your channel? That kind of segues into that.
Well, do you want dreams or do you want realistic goals? Because they're both the same.
Tell me both.
I would love to have the kind of monetization that people like Bag-O-Day or Scotty Kilmer in the automotive world have.
Right.
I don't think I'm capable of working that hard.
It is very hard work, isn't it?
It is.
People don't realize that.
I'm basically on early retirement and desperately hoping that my disability comes through. So I really couldn't do that kind of work. I want to have a nice following. I mean, I have a good number. It's not bad at all. Oddly enough, it went up by about 5 today, and I don't know why. You know, if I ever reach monetization levels, I don't really envision being able to make a ton of money from it. I want to talk about crochet. I want to talk about whatever I want to talk about.
I saw that look. So you want to be able to talk and have people listen, really listen.
Exactly. And I mean, one of my favorite things about being an opera blogger is having the respect of people who know the opera world, because even the singers I write about, the directors and the conductors and such, they say that they can tell I know what I'm talking about. They respect my judgment, and I think that is a wonderful reward. That I need to remember that sort of thing more often. I tend to lose sight of good things.
I should say it's a wonderful feeling, isn't it? To know that what you know, that people recognize you know what you know.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I can write. I know singing. I know opera music. I mean, opera is a huge literature, and I don't know all of it. I know some of it a lot better than others. I mean, I call myself a bel canto bear in a verismo world. And if you know either one of those terms, I'll give you a quarter.
I don't. I'm waiting for you to explain them. But I'll take that quarter anyway.
But people know that I know what I'm talking about. And people quote me, professionals quote me on their websites. I mean, that I think is a wonderful honor. And as far as crochet goes, people are telling me that they think I do good work. I'm getting into some designing and pattern writing, and people are liking that as well. That's harder work than just, you know, pushing out somebody else's design.
Absolutely.
So I often refer to the sweater that would not die, because I had to totally rework it. But I think once I get through with 2 whips I have, I'm going to go back to that and rework it.
You only have 2 whips?
Well, I have recently finished quite a few things. I have. Oh,
let's. Before David shows us his show and tell, this is a baby sleeper gown that was designed by Nana's Crochet Ideas that she submitted for our show and tell for Bedtime Yarn Tales. Nana's Crochet Ideas, thank you so much for submitting this. It's beautiful. I've been checking that out behind you. If you see my eyes, I kept checking that out. Yes, love it.
This is my Bavarian crochet blanket.
I love it. And great colors.
Oh, This is Lion Brand Mandala, or mandala, or however you want to pronounce it. It's really mandala. It's 3 cakes of the stuff. That's like 1,500 yards. Plus the edging, the last round is some leftover Lion Brand Pound of Love in white. Because the last round needs to be the round that does the fans. Because
Right.
basically it's a 2-row repeat. It's the row that does the fans and the row that does the gathers. And it's all these back post triple crochets.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very hard once you get the hang of it.
Unless you're watching TV.
Well, see, I don't watch TV.
See, I do, and I start doing it, and it's great. And then all of a sudden I look down, and I'm like, what am I doing? What is going on here?
Well, you know what? Since the videos that I wanted to do today didn't go through, I'm going to show you what I was going to show on those videos. I got a birthday package from my ex, actually. So, and this is the best part. This is a project bag with puppies on it.
It does. It has puppies. I love puppies.
It has puppies. And there's a little thing inside.
Aww.
For some things. So, and...
It's okay. You can do this.
Ah!
You can do this.
And this nice purple t-shirt, look at the pocket.
Oh, I love the pattern. Look at that. Looks like the Simplicity patterns.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Since my sister is a cross-stitch maven, and his birthday was in October, which is not long after Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, I asked her to do a cross-stitch of a portrait of Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh, wow.
And there were patterns available. So I was actually doing some lace collars like she wore. But anyway, we sent one of those to him, and he liked it. Here's another happy mail I got today. It's a little card from another friend.
Oh, with the puppies. I love the puppies.
Designed it. Those are her dogs.
Oh, they're adorable.
Yeah, anyone who doesn't know that I love dogs doesn't know me.
Well, you should see the 2 I've got. I don't know if you watched.
I want to see the 2 you've got.
Well, they're in there. You can usually hear them snoring on the videos. If you watch the Bedtime Yarn Tales with Dana from Wanderlust Crochet, I showed her a little video of them. One is a French Bulldog, and the other one is a part French Bulldog, part Chihuahua. And I love my girls, but let me tell you, they're so ugly, they're cute. They're little brindle colored. So you'll have to watch that video so you can see my girls.
On YouTube, there is someone with a Frenchie who posts just these little short videos. And I find when I'm like surfing YouTube on my phone at night in bed, when I should be sleeping, that all these short videos are grouped together, and some of them are stupid, but like 40 million ways to cook a steak.
I don't cook. I don't know how to cook. I'm the worst cook in America, I'm telling you.
I love to cook, but you know, I know how to cook a steak already. But anyway, this one Frenchie is very, very vocal, and she encourages him just for the sake of the videos. And then there's there are several Goldens with their own channels on YouTube. There's one called Oshi. He's in Southern California right now. When I first saw him, he lives with his mom and dad. His mom is a Marine. His dad is a former Marine. So they were in the Camp Lejeune area in North Carolina when I first saw them. But at that time, I was not in North Carolina. I was still in New York. But now they're in Southern California. And there's another one, I think he's in Australia. And then there's this other one that I found called Tucker, who only seems to do short videos, but they're so cute. And I love to watch Vet Ranch. It's a veterinarian, well, actually, several veterinarians now in Texas. They they work with rescue organizations in their areas. It's several cities in Texas, actually. They work with rescue organizations in their areas. They take in dogs that are very likely to be euthanized in shelters. They make them healthy again. Sometimes all they need is time.
Oh, wow.
And shelters don't have time.
Mm-mm.
Or money or anything else. Sometimes they need medical care. Sometimes they need a lot of medical care. Make them all better and give them back to the rescue organizations, and the rescue organizations find homes for them.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is wonderful.
I love what they do.
I will have to watch for that.
Yeah, yeah. They haven't done very many new videos lately, but I think that they're still doing the same work they're doing without necessarily publishing a lot of videos. And the guy who organized it in the first place, he's branched out into a ton of other different business things. I mean, he had another channel before he did Vet Ranch.
So David, that kind of leads me into one of my questions about, are there things that you're passionate about, organizations, causes that you want to give a shout out to? Along with, are there any other YouTubers that you want to give shout outs to?
Okay, well, anything having to do with pet rescue. Vet Ranch. There's another one called, there are several in Southern California, and I can't remember their names. But I mean, there are organizations like this all over. Anything having to do with pet rescue. There's an organization called Education Through Music. I don't think they do YouTube, but they do amazing work. They try to give public school students music experience when budget makers with other priorities have cut out music programs.
Right. And you see that a lot, especially in the rural areas.
So they do a lot of work. Those are the music and pet rescue.
Well, those are two very, very valuable things. I noticed on your giveaway that you did, you said if you donate to somebody, then send that to me. And you want to tell us a little bit about that? Because I thought that was very inspired.
Well, what I did, I encouraged people to, I gave a whole month. I posted a month ahead of my birthday. My birthday was December 8th. I'm still accepting presents. But a whole month ahead, I posted that in order to enter the giveaway, you had to make some sort of a charitable donation to an organization that would be recognized by the IRS. In other words, a 501c3 organization. Right. Political donations were not allowed. And then I named a few organizations that were my favorite, which included Education Through Music, which included anything having to do with pet rescue. Another one was Southern Poverty Law Center. And then what I did was I just took everybody, put them in a spreadsheet as a list, numbered everybody, and then took a random number generator from the web to determine which number was the winner.
Right.
And I heard just today what the winner did with her gift card. And I was very pleased about that. So,
very, like I said, I thought it was very inspired. It was very selfless. And I very much appreciated seeing that. I know that when I saw it, I just thought it was quite amazing. So.
Well, I didn't try to be amazing. I just wanted people to think.
You don't have to try, you just are.
Can I quote you on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, is there anything in this interview that you want people to know about you, your craft, anything that I haven't asked that you can think of that just comes to mind?
No. Actually, you've been very thorough. You sent me a list of questions. I didn't read it.
Nobody ever does, but I always like to send them. Well, I always have one final question that I ask, and I will get to that in just a couple of minutes. Do you have any questions of me that you want to ask?
Well, when I interview singers for my blog or for a magazine profile, I always sum up with a few things. Like, I think I stole most of them from Inside the Actor's Studio. Like, I asked people, what is your favorite swear word? And actually, a surprising number of people say, well, now that I have children. My favorite question from Inside the Actor's Studio, which might resonate with a lot of crochet followers, if my observation is correct. And I think this is usually the very last question. I never use it in my interviews, but it is, if there is a heaven, when you get there and you meet your maker, what do you hope that he will say to you?
Oh, and see, for me, that's easy. I hope he says, man, I couldn't stop laughing while I was watching you.
Ah!
I'm not kidding. That's what I hope he says to me. My question to you, my final question, is if you could be any handmade item anywhere in the world, what and where would you be? And I always tell my guests, I would be a granny square blanket thrown over the couch of the Graham Norton show. I don't know if you've ever seen Graham Norton, but I
was actually once in the live audience for Graham Norton. And the two guests that he had were both drunk out of their minds.
I'm not surprised. But yeah. That's what I would be. Granny D, when I interviewed her for last week, for Saturday, she said she would be a wash rag, a washcloth, Sean Connery's washcloth. I was like, Granny D.
I wouldn't mind that. Or his bicycle seat. No, my first thought was, how many hands are we talking about? I mean, when I think of some of the cathedrals in Europe, you know, from the Gothic and Renaissance ages, to be a brick in those cathedrals.
That is a great answer.
I mean, and those were made by hundreds of hands. You know, another thing I like that I haven't mentioned is history documentaries.
Me too.
And there's one, it's a set of different series by pretty much the same team, which is two archaeologists and a historian. The first one I saw was a Tudor monastery farm But they've also done like a Victorian farm, an Edwardian farm, a wartime farm.
Oh, wow.
But they also did a castle building team in, I don't know, I guess it would be Gothic Age, Dark Age, Medieval Age, France. And that was fascinating to me.
Wow.
I mean, when you think of the technology they had at the time and everything they accomplished.
And the length of time it took to make something, and how some of those things,
years.
they're still standing. And what do we do today? You know, we're a disposable society.
We put up glass skyscrapers, and 20 years later, we tear them down.
Yep. Or casinos. You see a lot of those being imploded nowadays, and new ones going up in their place. Yep. So.
Well, that's an American thing. I think that you probably see less of it in the old world.
Right.
But you know, everything by old world standards, everything, even the oldest things in the U.S. are just so new. And you know, I've heard like metaphors like how everything is washed down with Coca-Cola, and you know, it's all television, and you know, Dinah Shore and see the USA in your Chevrolet, and
Dinah Shore.
Yeah.
That's telling our age just a little bit that we know who that is.
Actually, that's older than me, but I used to work with someone who would marvel at the things that I knew, and she would say, "You shouldn't know that at your age."
Well, okay. I think we are probably about the end. Any last questions, comments?
You never did tell me what your favorite swear word was.
Well, now that I have kids, my kids are actually grown. So now that I have grandkids.
Oh, wow.
But I tend to say fudgesicles a lot.
I'd say something similar to that.
I saw you almost say it earlier. It was funny. It was on your face. You're very expressive. So, David, thank you so much.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
You know, I haven't been on the crochet scene very long on YouTube, and I've been doing it for a number of years, but I, like you, have met so many wonderful people. And where else can I go? I can't think of another place I can go other than YouTube, where I can meet people of different walks of life with different experiences and sit down and have a conversation and have that common ground and learn so many fascinating things. So it has been such a pleasure for me. So for viewers who are watching this, who have not been to your channel, in the description box, there will be a link to David's channel. Check him out. It's under David Browning. And also,
actually, you might be confused if you search for David Browning. It will be easier if you search for my Google ID, which is, unless you have the direct link. But my Google ID is Pager Bear.
Pager Bear.
Pager Bear. And there's a story about that as well. And in the description of my of all of my videos, I have links to the blogs, to Instagram and Facebook, and a few other things.
So my viewers will go to my description box down below, and they'll click on the link to your channel, and they'll be able to find all that good stuff. So without further ado, I'm going to let you go. Do it.
Subscribe, comment,
and hit the red button. Subscribe, like, share, all those good things. And he's got an Amazon list. But he's still accepting birthday gifts.
I wasn't going to say it, but now that you did, that's great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
As always, have a good night.